Monday night. Hello. I'm going to give everybody some time to come on. My eyes are bugging out as usual because of my contacts, but we're getting closer. Ooh, it's a little bit of cleavage there. Oh God, everybody's going to complain about this little situation there. Okay. So it's Monday night. Where are everybody? Where are everybody? No. Where is everybody? Hello, Facebook people. I always see you guys on first. But don't forget, if you're tuning in from Facebook, you see a green screen behind me. The best way to be able to interact with me is to jump onto my YouTube channel. And that's Intuitive Medium Deborah Hanlon on YouTube. So you can take a look through there in case you have a question or something that you want to ask. Tonight's purpose is all about, every night that I do this is really just an opportunity for me to kind of meet a lot of you or have follow-up with a lot of you who maybe had a session or you came to one of my events. And the purpose of tonight is to be able to answer questions things that might have come up in a workshop or a gallery that I said that you wanted some clarity on. So it's not intended for personal direct readings or messages. It's more for your additional education. And I hope we have a fun night. Usually I'm ranting. I'm not really in a ranting mood, which is nice. Some yoga and meditation must be helping. So yeah, I don't really think I have anything to rant about. But hello, Robin, you were on my mind all day, actually, or all evening. So that's a big shout out. You're just on my mind. There was nothing specific about it, about my thoughts, but just that I was sending you love and light. So hey, Tom and Heather and Renee and Deb and Carolyn, Diane, Melissa, hello. Just type in both YouTube and Facebook. Just type in where you're tuning in from and if this is your first time tuning in. I always like to see where everybody is. And I keep saying that I love that. One of the many things I do love about quarantine situations going on is that people from all over are getting sessions, and I've opened back up phone appointments, which I had stopped doing many years ago, for reasons. One, I hate talking on the phone, and two, it was always a lot of anxiety for me when I was doing phone readings, because if the session before the phone reading went over, then I knew that I had someone waiting on the phone, waiting for me, freaking out, thinking like, oh my God, she's not going to call me. So I was always so stressed. So I nixed all phone appointments, and I never regretted it. But now I'm amazed at the fact that I'm able to be everywhere now and be able to do readings for everyone. So if you have family members and friends in other parts of the world, I do phone sessions now. I also do group private Zooms. So to do a Zoom face-to-face, very much like this, you have to get a group of at least 5 and no more than 10 people. And then I will do it's a private gallery, basically. And I still suggest keeping it family and not have 10 friends. I mean, you can have 10 friends, but the more family, the more likely you are to hear from your loved ones, because you collectively, all 10 of you, would share the same people. So hello, Sharon, watching puffy clouds in the hood on your porch today. I love that. Wanda, I always call it Cairo, but it's not called Cairo. I learned when I was on the radio up in that area, I pronounced it incorrectly for a commercial, and it's Cairo. Is it Cairo? How do you say it? Because I said Cairo, like Egypt, and I was told that it's not Cairo. So yes. Oh, Christina, you just got my book. Came in the mail today. You're going to start it tonight. Excited? I'm excited for you. I want feedback. I love feedback. I love questions. After I wrote it, and when I recorded the audio book of it, which I don't have, I completed it. It took me 30 hours to complete the audio book. And then I found out that my mics were too hot and they couldn't edit out my stomach growling and all sorts of other background noises. So I have to redo it. And I just haven't. And I've been completely lazy because I clearly have much more time now. And I keep telling myself, I should just bang it out and go do it, but I haven't. But anyway, when I was reading it out loud, and I wrote the thing and I edited it like 8,000 times, I was like, wait, what? What did I say? What? So I learned for my first book, before I publish it, I should read it out loud to myself. But if there are parts that are confusing, you're not the only one, because I wrote it and it confused me. So ask me questions. I love to hear the questions about the book. Oh my goodness. Oh, and Jill's saying I started your book and can't get enough of it so far. Oh my God, this thrills me. I kind of like stopped talking about the book because I have this personality where I'm like, oh my God, been there, done that. And then I forget that new people, like I'm not good marketing with that type of stuff because not that I get bored of it. I feel like other people are bored of it. And I feel like people like, oh yeah, you all must have read it. So yeah, we're done. We're past that. And we have more to do now. So it's very exciting for me to hear that people are just starting it and reading it and diving in. So again, I love questions and feedbacks. This is the perfect forum for it. So take notes or highlight, because this is kind of why I started this whole YouTube thing, is to answer questions about the book. And it's kind of evolved or devolved. It depends on my mood, whether the Monday night is actually informative or hopefully entertaining. So let me see. Galway, New York. Let's see. Hello, Alexis. You too were on my mind today. Wanda said people always say it wrong. So it's not Cairo. It's Cairo. Is it Cairo? Melissa is saying it's called Cairo. Cairo. Hello, Donna in Florida. Hey, Marnie and Melissa. And oh, Carolyn, you're so good. Carolyn's like my one-person PR team. She said, Christina, you're in for a treat. I love Deb's book. We'll read it again. It makes you feel so much better about things you aren't sure of. I love it. And my son, Jack, is on. So this is always exciting to me. You're never bored. And you guys love Monday. Oh my gosh. I always get off of here and I go back upstairs and I'm always like, oh my God, am I so boring? I feel like I'm so boring. I feel like I'm droning on and on. So anytime I'm boring, like gently let me know. Gently. I don't need haters, but I don't need any more haters, I should say. That was a little dig passive aggressively, but whatever. So I did have a thought today. Well, I had many, thousands, but I went for a walk, and that is the best time to clear my mind and have all sorts of like just either visualizations about the future or just really paying attention to my breath and breathing as I'm walking. I listen to music, love it. But my thought today, as I was on a walk about what I would talk about tonight in the little like Dharma talk section of tonight, is about assumptions, right? And the assumptions that we make about everybody all the time. And a lot of times people will say like, no, I don't judge anybody. And no, I'm not biased or I'm not prejudiced. And I believe we believe that's correct because I say statements like that about myself. But today on my walk, every once in a while, it wasn't with everybody who passed me, but I paid attention to my thoughts about people on the path, and not like the life path, like the actual path at the lake. For instance, I saw an older man, probably, you guys are going to hate me for saying this, but there's a reason why I'm saying older, like probably 55, 60. And then he was pushing a child in a stroller. And then there was what I assumed to be the mother of the baby. And I thought about, oh, how cute that she's out with her dad pushing the granddaughter. How cute, right? And then I realized on my walk, like, that was the narrative that I told myself about these people. For all I know, he could have been the father. Or maybe he was the uncle, or maybe he's, who the hell knows? But it just caught my attention with myself of like, I told this story quickly. I mean, we're walking past each other and like, oh, that's nice that this like daughter is walking with her father and the baby. And that's not true. Or maybe it's not true. I don't know if it's true. So I told a narrative to myself, and I then became aware of that narrative. And then I had to step back and go, you could be totally incorrect on all of this. That could be the baby's father. He could be 60 years old as the baby's father. So then I started paying attention to all the assumptions I was making along the way about anyone passing. And it's amazing. It is amazing how, you pay attention to when you first see somebody, what goes off in your head. Like, what was the other woman? There was a woman who was coming, the opposite direction. And from far away, because my contacts are still all screwed up, so I can't see close up or distant perfectly at all. So I have like this fuzzy haze around everything. I'm just gonna call it the aura of everyone, but it's really like screwed up contacts. But anyway, there was a woman and she was so attractive, like older woman again. She was probably 65. Oh my God. Imagine if she's on here tonight and she's like, I'm 45. What are you talking about? But no, she's about 65 and just so attractive. And I kept thinking, at first I thought she was young because I couldn't see. And she just looked that fit, healthy look. And I thought, oh, look at her. She's probably like really all about fitness. And then I got closer and she was older and the assumptions I made about this young woman about fitness was instantly dashed when she got close, and it wasn't a young woman. She looked young. She looked amazing. But again, I was like, holy crap. My brain is processing stuff. And when we take the time to slow ourselves down and pay attention to these assumptions that we're making about everybody, it's pretty wild. It's pretty cool. As a woman, when you're walking by yourself and you see a man walking towards you, there's a moment sometimes where you're like, oh, I gotta pay attention here. I don't have that terribly for shorter men for some reason. I feel like, oh, I could take them, which is totally untrue, which if you remind me, I'll tell you a really funny story. But the assumptions you make about like, oh, man walking. Oh, why is he walking so slow? Oh, just pay attention to these assumptions that you're making. And it doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you an aware person. Because I feel like we're constantly fucking defending our assumptions and they're not right. They don't have to be right. Maybe we're right. Maybe that was the grandfather, the mom, and the baby. Maybe it was, but I don't know if it was. And the assumption that I left walking away could be inaccurate. And all I'm saying is to be open to the dialogue that you tell yourself, the narrative about others. Be aware of that dialogue going on in you. And then be okay with going, oh, wow, that was my assumption, but I don't know if that's right. I don't know if I'm correct at all. The judgments, and we're all placing judgments. They're quick split decisions about people. That's like a narrative is another word for judgment that we impose, an imposed narrative based on our experiences, based on our biases, based on whatever. And it's the human condition. It's the human condition. It's not a bad thing. It's just bad when we're very unconscious and we just assume we're always correct about other people. Because I'm pretty willing to bet I would say we're probably wrong about other people probably 90% of the time, which is pretty amazing, right? And now I realize what the backstory, why I landed here, because I posted a couple days ago a video on Facebook about two men, and they were neighbors, and basically they made projections or assumptions about each other, and then they were able to clear it up, and they were like completely wrong about the assumptions they made about these neighbors that they didn't talk about for forever. So I just want you to be really mindful of the narratives you're telling about your coworkers, about strangers passing in the street, about the person standing in line in front of you, whether they're standing too close to the cashier or too far away, or the assumptions you're making about people wearing masks and not wearing masks. Just assumptions. Pay attention and do it with curiosity. Do it with mindfulness. Do it with consciousness of like, this is the narrative I'm telling myself about so-and-so, but I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong. It's also kind of interesting to recognize when I think I said it. Did I tell you guys last week that I went into a store without a mask very quickly? Totally forgot the mask. I was in and out of stores all day, and I just jumped in the store real quick and was walking around. It was a wine store, and was picking out bottles, and I realized, oh my God, I don't have my mask. But two people left that store as I came in, and they probably are ranting and raving about the stupid woman that doesn't want to follow rules and how rude of her. And I wasn't being rude. I wasn't being rude at all. I was completely being absent-minded, forgetful. I would say rushed, but no, I'm not rushed anymore, which is so beautiful. Yet another thing I like about quarantine. But they would have made assumption that to them is right. I was in a store without a mask, but it really wouldn't be correct because it was a complete accident and they weren't there when I realized it and ran out to the car and was like mortified and apologizing to the owner of the store. So you're also the idiot sometimes in life that people are assuming that you're deliberately the idiot. Do you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? So I just want you to pay attention to your thoughts and pay attention to these assumptions about people. And then the important part is just saying to yourself, or I could be wrong. I could be completely incorrect. It's so wild. It is so wild. Okay, let's see your thoughts. Does it help? Wanda is writing. Does it help to see signs? Sorry, I can't read because my contacts are weird. Does it help to see sign of my loved one who passed away? It was a year on the 15th since my 19-year-old passed away. Oh my God. And I'm trying to see or feel signs. I'm afraid I miss them. Wanda, oh my God. I'm sorry to hear that you have a 19-year-old, any age child. We always miss signs. We're always missing signs, and we can't get around that. Well, I miss signs all the time. So just know that yes, you're missing signs, but it's okay because that's what we do. And they on the other side know that. But how do you feel them? Here's what I tell people, and it is harder for parents to do this than any other relationship, which does not diminish any other relationship dynamic. But there is something with parents that I think we all make the assumption that as a parent, particularly mothers, that we should know when our child passed. We should feel it, or then once they have, or if they have, then we should be able to feel them. And actually the opposite is true, the very opposite. So I always tell everybody to activate and engage your imagination. Play a game of pretend. Pretend your son is sitting right there next to you and you're having a conversation with him. Pretend. And I explain this all the time because I'm not saying that you're making it up, but telling your left side of your brain, or the logical piece of the brain, telling yourself, I'm just going to pretend so-and-so's with me. That opens up the ability to see, feel, and hear them and have a connection because you're going through the intuitive door to connect with them. The imagination and intuition are on the same, they're one and the same. The imagination is the bridge or the door to the intuition. And the logical mind will mess us up every time. Grief will mess us up every time. So anytime you feel yourself saying like, oh, I think I made that up, or oh, I think I'm stretching, or oh, maybe it's not, maybe that wasn't a sign. It probably was a sign. That's just your brain, that left side brain that we're taught when you die, you never to be found again. And physically, that is correct. Our physical body is gone. But there's so much more to the human being than just our body. The body is just this little glove that we put on, this suit we put on in order to manifest our being. That being never dies, never ever dies, and never dies when they're not supposed to. So even though obviously 19 years old is way too young and sick to think about, it was his time to go. Nobody ever dies when they're not supposed to. So keep engaging your imagination. Oh, good. Greg is posting links to my Amazon page for my book, for those of you who haven't gotten the book. Let's Let's see. Carolyn is saying it's crazy. Oh my God, these contacts are like, what? It's crazy how you say what we all think. That storytelling stuff we are all guilty of. You create what you believe to be true. But yes, exactly. The young woman was a surrogate mom for the older man and his husband. Exactly, Maria. Thank you. Thank you. I was trying to think of other narratives. Exactly. We're making these assumptions of like, I don't know, maybe they met on the trail and they just started talking. Maybe they weren't even related. So there's so many different narratives to tell that then it's almost like fun because it's like you're not locked into, oh, this is that, and this is this, and this is them, and this is how the world works. Because in case we haven't noticed, the dynamic of duality and black and white and things either being this or that is gone. That's done. We're done. We have made a quantum leap forward in our evolution that there is no such thing as absolutes anymore. So we're still kind of collectively as a globe, we're still trying to reach for the black and white of everything, the concrete, the this is good and this is bad of everything. But it's been a good 40 years of, probably actually a good 60 years of really this transition of there's this, that, and other about everything in life. Everything. What's good to me might be terrible for someone else. In yoga, I'm doing yoga classes like crazy. And the whole idea of yoga is to find your pose. So there's a pose that the teacher gives you, but you then have to find your pose or your rendition of that pose as to what feels good in your body. So there's the pose, and then there's the one you can do, and it's the ones you can't do. So there's no such thing as absolutes. And if you're thinking in terms of absolutes, you are creating a dichotomy of thought, and you're not going to be able to really stand behind it anymore. You're not going to be able to say, well, this is good because X, Y, Z. Because whatever your perception is true for you. So we're not taking that away. But whatever you're describing as good, you can find a million other people to tell you why it's bad. And they'd be correct too. You know, there are people who've come to me and they say, she's the worst. That's the worst reading I've ever gotten. There's other people that go, oh my God, it's the best reading I've ever gotten. According to their experiences, they'd both be correct. Sort of. You know what I'm saying? So again, there's no such thing as absolutes. I'm good for certain people that I'm good for. I'm not good for certain people I'm not good for. And I don't want to think in terms of absolute. It's bigger. It's a bigger world out there. I keep calling it a technicolor world. It doesn't have to be black and white. It's a technicolor world. There's this, that, and other. And it's so exciting. That could be this, that, or other. That's like exciting. And I think we're there. We're moving in that direction, but there's still a part of our consciousness that wants to dip back to that black and white and certainty. Because for some reason, evolutionary wise, we think that created certainty. But actually, the technicolor world creates certainty. Oh my gosh. My ex and I used to play a game when we were out and about and called it What's Their Story? We'd see people together, make up a story. What's their relationship? What are they thinking, saying, and doing? That is awesome. That is totally awesome. Now, we have to be mindful of then once you observe the narrative to then dial back and maybe investigate wow, why did I think that about them? Why didn't I think such and such about them? Because it's coming back to self and it's a real learning experience of, wow, I did not know the neural grooves that I cause my brain to be trained that older man, woman, and baby had to be grandfather, mother, daughter. Who knows? Who knows what it is? So I think it's such an interesting thing. And I really encourage all of you for the next week to really pay attention to these assumptions. The assumptions of the guy that cuts you off or the woman that cuts you off in traffic. What's the assumption? Oh, they're a jerk. They want to own the road, or they're on the way to the emergency room, or they just got fired and they're having a really bad day, or they're completely clueless and didn't see you, or They were trying out their new gas pedal. I don't know. So again, we've got to stop, because all of that energy of this assumptions is exhausted and wasted energy. Because in your one narrative, there'll be a nice narrative. Oh, wow, she's nice looking. She must have a really nice life and blah, 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 blah. And then there's the, oh man, I bet that person's just a road hog. And again, we're in dichotomy. We're either in this or that. But this, that, or other. And you bring it back to you. Where do you want to feel? What do you want to feel on a day-to-day basis? Do you want to feel all tight and tense and upset or angry or annoyed by everyone? Or do you want to kind of observe the world in this like mindful curiosity about each other, which is the direction the world is going in, by the way? Conversely, Jackie, I'm glad you brought this up. Exactly. There's assumptions made about what you think others might think of you. It's a judgment towards them as well. It's interesting to be mindful of that too. Jackie, that's brilliant. Exactly. I actually had that same thought on the path today, of what are they thinking about me? And then for me to recognize like, wow, that's my own narrative. You know, that whatever projecting, whatever I think they're thinking of me, that's my narrative for myself. That my positive thinking or my negative thinking. So yes, that's equally as expansive and growth worthy. So yeah, that's a great point. Oh my gosh. Okay. I made narratives about my coworkers and then went to put some lemons to put in the freezer, got out some lemons to put in the freezer. these lemons. Hello, Maureen. Right, the narratives we tell about ourselves, says Maria. Let's see, my Samantha. Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that. My grandpa passed yesterday morning. I keep wondering if he'll be there at a service with us later this week. What's the process after someone dies? They are immediately with all of you. So the moment they pass, the moment the soul leaves the body, which sometimes very, very, very often can happen before the body is declared deceased, by the way. A lot of times people will say that they saw the soul left or felt the soul left, but the body's still breathing and the heart's still beating. That's very possible. But as soon as that soul is out, they are completely connected with all of everything, and they're present with all of you separately at the same time. So yes, of course, they're at their services. Do people have certain tastes in music because they lived in a certain place or time in a former life? My daughter loves 50s music. I have no idea why. Wow, that's cool. Past life regression would be cool with her. Especially she's so young. She's 14, so they don't normally like 50s music. So yeah, that could totally be a thing or a correlation that they were. Hi. Come on in. You're coming in? Sure. Hello, Laura from South Carolina. We have a guest tonight. I'm gonna scoot over. Let's see. Do I have any idea when you'll be opening back up for in-person sessions? I have decided that I will not be doing any in-person sessions for a good year. So there will be no in-person sessions with me for a good year. And the reason for this is not because of fear of COVID or getting it or giving it. Chris is here, by the way. I don't want to sit with a mask on and do readings. It doesn't feel right to me. It doesn't feel natural and normal, and I don't think it's right to have people coming from all over to come sit in, and I don't need the extra stress as far as, well, what if the person before that one is now sitting down on the couch and then they have COVID, and what if that person brought that home to their grandparent and blah, 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 blah. I don't want to be a part of any of that. So I will not be doing in-person sessions for at least a year or more, or ever, maybe. Who knows? Who knows what, and part of that is, it's not optimal for people. I know that. And some people will say, well, then I don't want to come to you. And I've told many people who said that. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. That's just the way I feel and how it doesn't feel right to me to go back to in person at this time. Ooh, that felt nice. I will say, and if Eileen is on this, oh, she is there. Eileen said hi, Chris. I will say that I am finding that I even prefer now the phone readings, which is crazy because I was like, I'm not doing these anymore ever again. But I'm finding it better because I don't rely on any visual cue. And I know skeptics, which I really pay less and less attention to skeptics after 19 years. Skeptics say, oh, she's reading body language. Oh, well, you're giving off this feeling and that's what she's reading, which I've known for decades now that that's not accurate. But the phone, I have no visual cues of you whatsoever. I have your voice to go after. I can't even tell if someone's trying to think of something. There are people who try to throw you off in readings. So they're like, no, you tell me, I've seen it all. And I don't have any of that. And it's so much easier for me because I basically tell people to be quiet and listen to what I'm saying, ask questions at the end. And I think the sessions have never been better. I really do. I also have more time in between sessions. I don't feel stressed knowing that I'm not done with one session and there's a person in the waiting room waiting. I did not realize how stressed out that made me because I want to be everything for everyone and winds up you become nothing for anyone. But once I would hear the bell ring, like the door chimes ring when someone was coming in to the building, then I would start getting stressed, like, oh my God, what time is this session over? Oh my gosh, I have to wrap up. But you kind of can't wrap up like quickly. You can't be like, okay, goodbye, see you later. And so that was difficult for me. So the phone readings, there's a built-in boundary. There's a built-in presence. I've had people, you have to be present with me on that phone. You can't distract yourself. And I can't tell you how many people would be on their phone in a reading or, a call would come in and they're, oh my gosh, they just get distracted, believe it or not, with me. So I have decided that I'm definitely for the year, I will not be doing in person. And who knows after that. So that is where I'm at with that, which I have not said out loud yet. So thank you, Danica, for that question.
Lights, like so bright.
Oh wow, I know. I think that's what's happening to my eyes where I'm trying to not look at the white. So everyone, for those of you who don't know, this is my son, my baby bear. He's my babyest bear, Christopher. And you weren't here last week, right? No, you were working. You were working last week.
I was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was working at the ice cream stand.
And I wasn't on last week. The other week before that. Well, because it lagged, right?
Right. That's right.
Because we're talking about aliens, and then all that happened. So
we were talking about aliens. Scared some people. Let's see. Marnie's saying we look at their expressions and body language and the way they interacted. That's going back to the other conversation we're saying. Let's see. Aisha is asking, do spirits dance? I know we all have the notion they play harps and listen to angelic music. Oh my God, my contacts, I'm about to rip it out. But what about music like Post Malone disco? Do they shake their light body booty? Totally. Yeah. I don't know where that whole angelic music thing came in. Well, yeah, I do. Music is vibration. So there's a softer, gentler, penetrating, if you will, vibration, harmony of sound. So that's probably where the angelic music stuff came through. But yeah, they're always talking about, actually I had one today. They were talking about, they're listening to Elvis. They kept talking about somebody, a cousin or somebody, I forget who it was, but they were big Elvis fans and they were listening to Elvis. So yes, they do dance and shake their light body booty. I kind of like that. Let's see. Are there, oh, thank you, Grace. Grace is saying, I thought your phone session was awesome. Are there levels to the other side? So when you speak to spirit, do you get a sense that there are stages or levels that may be the spirit has to pass to get their peace? Fantastic question. No, no. Levels and hierarchy is a human idea. We created the, hierarchy. This is best and this is not as good. And in the world of nature, nothing in nature is going like, oh yeah, the oak tree is so much better than a sunflower, or blade of grass, you're not really as important as a raindrop. There's nothing has hierarchy. It's all this one symbiotic flow of energy, and that's the same with the other side. So angelic realms and saints and sages, those are human concepts that we are trying to put on something that is not human. So it's an inaccurate description. Well, people tell me, well, and angels, pray to the angels, they have more energy. That's a belief. It's a belief. That's all it is. It's a man-made belief in entities and energies called angels and saints and sages. Saints are declared saints by who? Humans. Humans said, oh, wow, this person, they were good. They were a really good person. They're going to get extra props on the other side, and we're going to have tons of people pray to them. Now, that does not mean that there's not power in saints and angels and all that at all, but it's your belief in that power that is what makes them or it work for you. So no stages or levels. That's very much a human concept. And people don't like when I tell them this. People often hate that I say that. So
how do I just contrast
here.
just a
Oh,
little
because
bit?
you sat in.
Oh.
So it changes
And
like
plus
that.
my white shirt.
Right. There you go. So good question, Jen. Thank you. Eileen said phone reading was better in person by far. Let's see. I love my phone reading, but it would have been nice to be in your presence of proof. See, I love that. I'm a people person, so I like the one-on-one, and I've had sessions with Deborah both ways, although I had the first in person and the second via telephone. Both were exceptional. Thank you, Maureen. Danica, I completely understand your thoughts on not doing in person. Will you ever consider doing one-on-one video sessions like Zoom, but only for one person so we could see faces? No, I thought about that too. And everyone is saying, well, Zoom is available, do Zoom. But part of this time for me forced me, I mean, my actual business, my actual livelihood is to do very large events. I mean, that is, and that was obliterated overnight. And so it forced me to change the way I operate everything, as everyone did. And I'm so fortunate that I still can. So I'm certainly not complaining by any way. But I'm really taking this time of like, you know what, Deb? The universe has provided an opportunity for me to really look deeply into what has worked for me and what has not worked for me, for self-preservation, for self-development, growth. I was very much stuck in the routine and the grind and the have to go. And I didn't realize how much that was like destroying me. So that's why I feel like the globe, like this is why I keep saying quarantine and all this is also an opportunity, as it is this terrible, crazy thing. It's also an opportunity. So the Zoom videos, if I went to Zoom, it would require me, for the one-on-one, it would require me to put makeup on, shower, get dressed. I very often, because of my back and leg issues that are so much better, especially since quarantine, because I'm not sitting upright in a chair all day. I get to stretch, I get to move, I can lay down if I need to. And some sessions I totally need to lay down. So it doesn't work for me right now to do even Zoom, because then that would require more makeup, lots of it. And not my hair up in the this is all my hair is ever up in here. It's like this obnoxious high, like right, I look like Olga. Right, does my hair always look like always in a bun?
I don't really notice.
So that's very male of you.
like, yeah, I don't
You don't
really know.
notice like my quarantine beauty?
I'm honestly never really home. No. Oh, I lied. Like, it's either I'm in my room or I'm out the house.
Yeah,
So,
that's
like,
kind
I
of
never
quarantine
really
life.
stay.
So Danica, so that's why just the group thing right now for the Zoom, because it's making my body feel better to not have to be so on all the time for everybody else's purposes. So that is a good question. Isn't it hot in here or what? It feels so hot. Jill, does everyone reincarnate, and do we continue to do so until we've learned everything we're supposed to? Yes, everyone reincarnates. We continue to reincarnate until we've learned everything. Yeah, it's learned / experienced everything, and we can take the word "supposed to" out, even though it's totally accurate. It's just until we have experienced all facets of life, whatever that means. Blade of grass, grain of sand, human being, planet, whatever aspect of the universe you're looking at, until we have come from every vantage point, we are going to keep reincarnating. A lot of religions will talk about reincarnation and that, you can get to nirvana and then you don't have to come back. But my interpretation of that, and it's totally mine, I don't know if it's the religions itself either, but is that once we have experienced everything, we finally realize we have been everything all along. It's kind of like little Dorothy in Wizard of Oz. We've been everything all along. And so we don't need to reincarnate because we are everything at the same time. And that is nirvana. That awareness is nirvana. Let's see. Is there a review of our life or life lessons when we pass? Yes, the life review. I did write a lot about this in the book. And I do actually, it's one of my favorite parts of the book because we often hear about the life review when we pass, and we say, "Oh, my life flashed before my eyes," which is correct. It's kind of like our little brains are computers, and it is recording everything that's ever happened from the moment of our death all the way back to conception. And we're like unwinding the videotape of our life. The important part of that life review is that we will experience all of our interactions with anyone, everyone, everywhere from our vantage point, as well as the vantage point of the other person involved in that experience. So, in other words, if we were really rude to a cashier at the food store that we talk about all the time, during your life review, you're going to review that dynamic and you are going to feel what you made that cashier feel like. And that might not be good. That might not be good. So we have to feel our way through and we have to understand that person's vantage point before we can come to a wholeness. And we have to go, oh my gosh, wow, I didn't realize I made them feel that way. Similarly, our good deeds that we've done, we get to reevaluate those and re-experience those. So the good that we've put out into the world, we get to experience it through whoever was the benefit of our good deed. So it goes both ways, but that's the whole question of how do you want to feel during your life review? Do you want more instances? And no one's going to do this perfectly. No one's going to have, this perfect, like never upset anyone anywhere life review, not even Gandhi's and the Mandelas and any of the Mother Teresa's. They even had negativity in their past life review. But what do you want to have more of? Do you want to have more of those experiences like, wow, it genuinely helped someone? Or do you want experiences where you're like, wow, this was less than. Oh my goodness. Let's see. Will a spirit who has passed many years ago come through stronger than someone who has passed within the year, or is it based on their personality? For me, I believe every medium is different. I'm positive every medium is different. For me, it's their personality. Like the louder they are, and what by loud, I don't mean volume loud. You could be a very private, quiet person, but if you were obvious about that quiet, private person, I can feel that. So I will feel their personality first But it doesn't mean if they're quiet, it doesn't mean I won't hear them at all. I'll actually say, oh my gosh, they were so private, or wow, they were so quiet. So it's more the intensity of the personality.
A lot of questions.
Sharon's makeup, get dressed, and a bra. Nope. Liking my quarantine messy old lady look. Me too. I'm enjoying. I'm never without a bra. I mean, that's TMI, but I rarely, because I can't let them fly. You know what I mean? So that is there, but like I have my hair up, I'm my coffee, I'm like slurping coffee. And sometimes lately I am sitting / laying on my bed. I have that, it's not really the Craftmatic adjustable, but it's like it. You know, it always reminds me of those commercials from like the 80s. But like my legs are up because when my hip acts up, I get to move around. So it's so much better for my body. Okay, Melissa. So if someone we love passes and they reincarnate, will we not be able to speak to them from the other side? No, we'll always be able to speak to them. Great question. So how do I want to explain this conceptually? Okay, it's kind of like, this is like a really weird analogy, but you know how like you can have a desktop computer and all your files on the desktop, but then you can mirror or share that desktop computer onto your laptop or onto an iPad or something? That's kind of the best way I can explain that. You can move files around. I mean, that sounds so nuts as far as applying it to human beings and souls, but wherever the file existed at once, it still exists there, but it can also exist in other places. So you'll always be able to connect with them for sure. That makes sense. Curious, do your boys share your gift?
We get this question often.
I know.
I don't know. No, not me. No. Jack?
No.
Ben? No.
No, I think they're all like just regular, intuitive people. And it's so funny. I mean, this does come up a lot. I don't talk about what I do with them. Like, they don't ask me these types of questions. They don't even think about, like,
I don't really care.
Right. Yeah. So it's not like I'm grooming them, and it's not like our conversation in life is like, you know, well, what do you think about reincarnation? You know, like, similarly, if they like Jack in the recently has says, Mom, you know what I've decided, I realized this, like, when is your time? It's your time. When you're gonna go, you're gonna go, and it can't be your time. And he's like, what do you think? And I'm like,
he said that out of nowhere too.
Yeah, he did. But like I wasn't gonna be like, well, yeah, I've been saying that for years. Like, he doesn't know that I've said that for years. I like when they come to their own on their own beliefs. I don't care what their beliefs are. I just want them to like come to all of their intuitive awakenings on their own, not based on what I said that they were. So that was pretty cool when Jack said that, because I was like, he's never heard me say that ever. Jack. And that's Jack too, who he's like
becoming a real person now.
I know. Like, aren't we proud of him? Yeah. He is. He's like Pinocchio. He's like a real boy,
but a lot more adult now.
He is. I've seen that too.
Jack was just a little kid instead of.
Jack was always a nudge. He was a nudge.
Annoying.
As his older brother, sure. Jack watched Christopher. They played basketball last week, and he was like, Mom, I'm not gonna lie, Chris is really good. And I said, you know, Jack, you really need to tell him that, because that would mean a lot coming from a big brother who really loves to play basketball. And he goes, yeah, I know, I should, but I can't tell him. I just can't tell him yet. I'm like, you really need to tell him, because that would make everybody feel good. But he's like, nobody really is good. And you know, I'd not say anything. Okay, let's see. Melissa's saying, I remember you did my reading and you said my son was a real smartass. You had him spot on. You said he's really getting my attention. Oh, I love that. I love those smartasses that come through. I really do. I love the loud ones, the cursors. I like them because I don't have to interpret anything they say. Sue, how are you? I haven't seen you here in a while. Why would a spirit from many generations ago, someone who you do not know, you only know through family stories, come through a reading? Hard to say. It is so hard to say. I would rephrase the question though. Instead of saying they're coming through the reading, the better question to ask is, why are you picking up on them? Because they're all coming through in a reading, but we, the medium, can only pick up on certain aspects, and that's the good point to start for your own self-learning. And then you'll understand it more because it's coming from inside. So say you are picking up on this woman who was a nurse, and she cured tuberculosis. I don't know. And then you go, oh, why did I pick up on her energy? And then you realize, wow, I've been really worried about my dad who has like lung issues. And you might say, oh my gosh, that's probably why I'm hearing or feeling or aligning myself with that energy who is being able to show up as a help or guide to him now. So that's like a weird example, but hopefully that made sense. But yeah, always ask, like, why are you picking up on this energy? Why are you not? In certain readings, I always ask people, am I leaving anyone significant out? Because I had readings many years ago and I heard from everybody else than the person I wanted to hear from at this medium. This was like 25 years ago. And I never spoke up. I never said like, hey, do you think my brother's there or anything? And I didn't say anything. I left. I was totally crushed and defeated. And I never want somebody to leave me, not at least knowing that I tried to connect with someone that they love. So I don't know where I was going with that. No idea. Totally lost my train of thought.
I kept staring at the white and it made me like zone out.
Oh, I wonder if I plugged into your energy.
Change to like waterfall.
There's a beach one we can do.
Speaking of the beach, come on.
Ooh, look at us in Hawaii. Now we're gonna. Oh, you know what, guys? Here's. Oh no. Oh God, the pinwheel. All right, let's not touch anything.
What?
For the love of Lord.
I didn't do anything.
What's happening?
What did I do?
Oh my God. Yeah.
Okay. I guess we're stuck at the beach.
Carolyn is saying, Christopher, of course you care. He's like, no, I really don't.
I care, but like I care about you. I don't really care about what you do.
Oh, yes, I do.
I mean, I care. I don't know.
I know what you mean. I feel it. Oops, sorry, that water bottle's in the way there.
I'll take it back.
That's very kind of you, Christopher.
Of course.
Let's see. You're just mom to them. You don't talk shop with them. That's how it should be. That's true. Carolyn, wait. Sharon said, no bra, took a bag. You'll get there in your 50s. You'll just let them fly or hang in my case. Oh my God, it's hilarious. Oh my gosh. Margaret, my father passed a month ago and he hasn't sent me a sign or came to me yet. Why? He definitely has. He does send signs, but you were missing them. And because we're all missing them. We're missing about 90% of the signs they're giving us, probably 98. And I would say grief, our own grief blocks it. And also that consciousness of like begging and pleading, like, please come through, please, please, please. Anytime we're begging for something, we're reaffirming. Oh God, my eyeballs are killing me. We're reaffirming to our brain that, if we're begging for food, if you have to beg for food, you're reaffirming that you don't have food. If you're begging for love, you're reaffirming that you're not loved. If you're begging for money, you're reaffirming that you have none. So same thing with a sign or connection from the other side. If you're begging for one, you're only reaffirming the lack of connection. So I would tell you, and I tell everybody all the time, to change the question to them and the like sending out of energy or the request of them to gratitude, and say, thank you for showing up. Thank you for the connection. Thank you for letting me know you're here, because the gratitude only reaffirms more of what you're grateful for. If you're grateful for money, you're reaffirming to your brain, I have plenty. If you're grateful for food, you're reaffirming, I have plenty. I was saying to them the other night that if you're not, this is kind of a side topic. So that's the answer to that question, Margaret. He's definitely sending you signs. Your grief is probably just completely overpowering it, and a little bit of a left brain with you. Logic, too much logic, that will kind of get in our way. But now I already forgot what I was going to say. Oh my God, do I have
keep
like
looking at the waves
Alzheimer's?
coming in from the beach.
Did you just zone out again?
I don't listen.
Oh.
I just keep looking at like, the waves.
Oh my gosh, it's hilarious. Chris, go for a quick swim.
Where?
In the ocean.
Dory.
Oh my God, it's hilarious. So what was I saying? Begging, pleading, what was I?
Begging.
Oh, God help me.
I need to start paying attention.
Wait, because I answered a question and then I was going to go on a tangent. Maybe I'm not supposed to go on that tangent.
Signs.
Cardinals. Are cardinals a sign that your loved ones are close to you? For some people, yes, but there's nothing in the universe that is like the universal sign of our deceased loved one coming, and this is why I get crazy with like that one. It's good for those of you who have cardinals as a sign when you see that Facebook post as a reminder, like cardinals are a little reminder that your loved ones are around. That's good for those that it isn't true, in fact, sign for, because it's reaffirming that. If you don't have cardinals, what if you live in a part of the globe that does not have cardinals and you're like SOL about getting a sign from them? So it's not a universal sign, but it has been a common one. Yes. Cardinals, butterflies, dragonflies, hummingbirds are making a big comeback lately. Remind me about mosquitoes. White feathers, pennies, dimes, ladybugs, the numbers on a clock, 1111. These are big, common themed signs. And what is that about? I think it's like collective consciousness, and we're kind of like share with each other, like what we're, oh my gosh, cardinals, look for cardinals, and then we keep reaffirming that, so it becomes more of a thing. But today in a reading, and I love this person so much. I've known her for now 10 years, and her husband had passed in October or November, and no, in September. But anyway, he came through saying he was a mosquito, and he was talking about how she was on the patio just like 2 nights ago and like was literally eaten alive. And that I know a skeptic, because I'm like sitting to myself like, all right, we know there's mosquitoes out, and if you're sitting outside, you're probably gonna get bit up. And she was like, oh my God, I need to tell you, I was completely, she was like, I was like cursing about the goddamn mosquitoes, and they wanted to do a fire pit, and I didn't want to do a fire pit because the mosquitoes were eating me alive. So that was just like a real tangent, real world thing. And I said, oh my God, I got to tell you, first time in 19 years I've ever heard someone on the other side say that they are a mosquito, or that is their sign. So I thought it was hilarious.
Cool.
Oh, it was cool. Yes, Margaret. So that's exactly what I'm doing. Begging. Exactly. I promise you, you start changing the reaffirmation to your own brain by saying, thank you, Dad, so much for coming through. Thank you for letting me know you're here. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And try not to say like, thank you for letting me see 14 elephants cross the street. Like try not to be very specific about what you want him to do or send you, because then it opens our eyes up to, oh my gosh, you'll know the wink, you'll know the sign. So common, we all do beg. That's what we do until we have to rearrange the way we think about it, because again, we're just reaffirming to our brain. Jen, thanks for my hummingbird wink. I love it. 222 for you and your mom, Tom. That's awesome. Interesting. So do you think when we connect, we are receiving as much as the person we are reading for? I wasn't doing the reading this time, but I think there was a lesson. Let me just read that again. Do you think that when we connect, we're receiving as much as the person we are? Yes, absolutely. Yes. For good mediumship, in my opinion, the medium should always be sitting in the seat of learning, of receptivity, of hearing it, of delving inside. So it's not about the medium, but it's about the medium. So it's, when I say it's not about the medium, meaning it's not about my projections of what I think this person is saying, feeling, or expressing. So that part is not about me. And if somebody was, I I don't know, had a different moral system than I do, I can't put my stuff on them and say, well, yeah, no, they were really bad. They were really, they didn't really care about XYZ. That would be my stuff. I have to be the medium and say, oh my gosh, they definitely really liked, killing people. I don't know. I'm trying to think of something really bad. So, that's not my judgment to make on them. So that's why I say that's not about the medium. But the part that is about the medium is you should always be sitting listening as if this information is helpful to you too. So I think that answers your question. Eileen, I was saying something what I said to the boys. I know it left my head. Totally left. Maybe it will maybe it'll come back. Maybe or maybe not. Let me scroll back. You guys have great questions. Let me just see my little notes. Purpose of tonight, where are you from? My COVID hair. I wanted to talk about that. My assumptions. Yeah, for how many of you are on Instagram? Because I have like over 11,000 people on Facebook, but I have like 2,000 or 3,000 on Instagram. And I'm like, I love Instagram. I don't know about you, but I love it. You want some more followers? Only if you're not creepy. I'm going to.
Yeah, someone commented. So, I mean, it wasn't weird. But
I was like,
she
what?
was like, I love your mom on the live.
Oh, that's a nice comment.
Yeah.
I think it meant like creepy old man type of thing. Which would be assumption of me. Oh, yes, I know her, of course. It's Carolyn. Yeah. Yes. Adorable. That's a very nice comment.
I was going to respond, but I just didn't know how to say,
yeah.
I could just say thank you, but you gotta spice it up.
Gotta spice it up. So thank you for that, Carolyn.
Thank you. Especially for the comments. Comments help.
Comments help? I don't even know.
Nah,
but
it really
go to Instagram. It's right here, right there. That way, right there. Deborah, I am Deborah Hanlon. It's like a play on words, like I am Deborah Hanlon, but it's also intuitive medium Deborah Hanlon. I am Deborah Hanlon. So find me there because I love Instagram. To me, it's I guess it's what you like a lot, but I find I don't see crap on it. Do you know what I mean? I don't see like fighting, and I don't see like constant opinions, and I don't see.
That's for the people you follow.
Right, but you have a little more control over like what type. I don't know. That's my experience. I never see anything nasty on there and aggravating and stuff that upsets me or aggravates me. And if you guys do, it's probably because there's other stuff that you're liking that links it all in. But I don't know. I love Instagram. And a lot of you are joining the Teachable Online Center for Being, Knowing, Doing. This online center is going to be my like temporary community of togetherness, of classes, of workshops. So sign up if you haven't done that. It's deborahhanlon.teachable.com. I'm sure Greg will put in the comments the link here. But that's where I'll be posting my classes that have already taught live. They'll wind up going on to Teachable, so you'll be able to access them after the fact. I personally like live classes, but you can't always, attend the live classes. So you'll be able to take it again, not live, through Teachable. And I think that's all I have on my list here. So let's see. Megan is saying, I always see 4:23 on the clock lately. What could this mean? It's hard to say. And I'm always intrigued. Actually, in my book, I talk about my mom's bookshelf when I was growing up. My mom had this really wonderful bookshelf. And back then, we actually read books and everything wasn't exposable. And when I was finished reading my books, my kid books, I'd go to her bookshelf. And she had some books that looked like kids' books, but they weren't, like Clown of God by Tommy DePaula. And oh my gosh, The Snow Queen was one of them, which was a myth. Oh my gosh, I can't think of, I wrote about it in the book. And I would often pull off all her books, and she was interested in Eastern philosophy, meditation, Buddhism, Christianity, everything religion, everything world, everything human, psychology. So I was reading these books since I'm very, very, very young. And I was just scrolling through, or not scrolling, turning through the pages. And one of the books is Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. And I'm always going back to that book because I remember the cover, the way it looked in her shelf. And it really is amazing how the human mind is conditioned to look for meaning in everything. And this brings us great pleasure when we do feel like we have found meaning to things, but it also brings us great distress and dis-ease when we feel like we don't have or know the meaning. So I would challenge people to look deeper into what it is that what meaning are you looking for? Because when we go deeper into that, there's a connection we're looking for. It could be to someone on the other side. It could be an acknowledgement that evidence of the divine, which is what my best friend always says, like all I've ever wanted was evidence of the divine. And I love that phrase that she says all the time. Are you looking for evidence of the divine? In other words, are you looking for proof? Are you looking for those things that connect you to something bigger than yourself? And if it's 423, maybe it's 423. If it's a mosquito, maybe it's a mosquito. If it's singing in a choir, it's singing in a choir. So, or all of those things, if that makes sense.
I'm loving the ocean back here.
I didn't, Chris, you're adorable. Just saying. He really is, Maria.
Thank you.
He really, really, really is. Chris looks so grown up. He does. He's also, hey, Kim, also so grown up.
That's Molly's mom, right?
Yeah. Kim is my son Jack's girlfriend's mom. And it's so cool how crazy the universe is, because I did a reading for her like 10 years ago. And she says that I talked about Molly and how she was. I don't remember that part of the reading, of course, but I remember meeting Kim many times. And I just love that our kids are like together all the time. It's just amazing how the universe works. Carolyn's saying, I didn't think Deborah approved. I commented the night you said you were on, Chris. I could have a cult with the amount of people who now follow me. It's weird. I hardly ever post anything. Diane loves the ocean background. Oh, thank you, Maureen. Maureen is asking Chris if you're happier with your new phone.
Actually, yeah. It was like the only thing that annoyed me was if you guys were on 2 weeks ago. I had this phone for 2 weeks. Oh my god, time's going by fast.
I know.
But yeah, I don't know. I do like it, but I just miss my old phone. I don't know. It's just like that. It's like something. It's like something you really liked, and it's just gone.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They do know.
Oh yeah.
We could do a connection with your old phone. Get it? That was like connection, phone.
Yeah, we got
it. Connection, medium.
Yeah, we got it.
Oh my god. Oh, Greg said the grill is lit. So do you have salmon to make?
Yes, I do, but the videos are not good. I watched one video, sorry.
Are you wrapping it in tinfoil?
I don't know.
Garlic and stuff inside?
I don't know.
Oh my god. We are having a late dinner because Jack works late and he doesn't get out of work until like now. Fire pit. Yes. And
asked for one for the last.
But Jack like comes home hungry, and I've suddenly become somebody who sometimes enjoys cooking now because the world is coming to an end, because I like dogs and I don't mind cooking now. So something weird is happening in the universe. But anyway, so I said to Jack that we're having steak on the grill tonight, and he was mad because then it would be reheated later. So we all said, okay. Well, I said this on behalf of everyone, that we will cook late dinner tonight so that it's fresh steak and fresh food and you're not reheating it, because that's the mama in me. But I forgot it was Monday night, and now Greg is stuck making. I prepped it all. Well, no, that's not true. Greg cut the potatoes. Yeah, it was a team effort, but it's mostly Greg, part of the team. So what's for dinner? Steak. He's making salmon on the grill. Chris is super into health and good eating. So he's making salmon steamed in tinfoil, and you got to put garlic and all sorts of cool stuff in it.
I'll look it up.
I'll look it up. And like roasted potatoes, Brussels sprouts. Yeah, and that's it. So it's going to be a good Chris is cooking salmon.
Be careful what you wish for. Curse will never shut up. I love it. What does all the comments do on Instagram?
Yeah, what do they help?
They help me feel happy. They don't really help with anything. Honestly, they really don't. It just depends on like what you comment. Because it was like I posted a picture of me in my new basketball uniform, like because we didn't have the season, and I liked the uniforms; they were nice. So I had you take the pictures. And then so like all of my friends were like, "Oh, this is fire" and stuff like that. And I see this one paragraph. It was like, "Chris, I love you on your lives," which I'm happy with. Like it was. Thank you for commenting, by the way.
Oh, it's so funny. You know what, adults, we do comment like paragraphs, and like you guys just write like fire, lit, cool, but we're like, I noticed that with texts.
That's the only thing. Like, I'm not saying it was a bad thing to comment. I'm just saying it was like an adult thing.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
No, it is a good thing.
So now, Carolyn,
you guys don't be scared to comment.
Do you want us to be mute now so you can go eat? No, because that means I have to cook it.
Wait, what time is it?
It's already 9:40.
Yeah, you only have 20 minutes.
Sounds good. Lost me at Brussels sprouts. I know you, Jen, you don't like Brussels sprouts. I love them. I love Brussels sprouts and broccoli. Thank God.
Broccoli. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I smell is Brussels sprouts. I can't say that word. And broccoli. It's the only thing I smell when you're cooking. That's right. And hot sauce.
Oh, that's it. I make them with every meal with hot sauce. So
turn your mic up a little. How do I do that?
I think you have to just talk into it. So do I have any questions for tonight, or am I making everybody so hungry? Salmon and Brussels sprouts is Grace's favorite food. Dang, now that's dinner, right? I know.
We had a good dinner yesterday.
What did we have yesterday?
Yesterday was Father's Day.
Oh yeah, we did. Yeah. Yep.
We had, what do we have? Steak again. Something. Apple. Corn. Apple.
Green
something.
Beans. Apple tarts. Apple tarts. Greg's daughter ordered Omaha steaks and a whole meal for Greg because she was working, so she couldn't be there. So we had a little barbecue for Father's Day.
That's annoying is I'm not even hungry right now. Like I had, the banana and peanut. That's the only thing I had, and I was like, I'm
starving.
I'm not.
Let's see. People on Instagram don't have time to get into nonsense. That's true. Instagram is better for lives and for the comments. I think so too. I do too. I don't know. I mean, yeah, sometimes I see people that get like rude comments, but I also like when people fight back. I really do.
Yeah.
Like Kelly Ripo, when someone like insults her daughter, like she like nicely says it otherwise. Cat and Nat are my favorite. I love those two. Oh my God. I want to be their friends. I think I am them, but that's because I just like them. All right. I'm going to end it here tonight, you guys. So I'll be back on next Monday night. Don't forget, Sunday night is meditation. I took last night off for Father's Day. So Sunday night meditation is 7:30 to 9 every Sunday night. So make sure that you do that. Yes, I put hot sauce on literally everything. But yes, also on Brussels sprouts. I know. Apple tarts were excellent. They really were. And I'm not like an apple tart person. I'm more like chocolate cupcake person, but they were awesome. Maria thinks of us when we go to Stop and Shop. Ellie is the food store. I heard you were planning a Mediumship 2 class. Is this true? Yes, it is true. I had a really good time with Mediumship 101, and I am putting together the time frame for 102. It'll be over the summer. Probably a Tuesday night, most likely in like July through August for sure. So I'll be announcing that soon when I put it together. And yeah, everyone have a good night, and we'll see you next week, I hope. So have a good week. Bye.